Hello, everyone. Hello. Hey. Hey, folks. How are y'all doing today? Not too hungover? Yeah. All right, I'm CCP Fozzie.
Oh, fine, all right. I'm CCP Larrikin.
We're both game designers on EVE, and we're going to go through a bit of a game design panel today. So the idea behind this, we are both game designers. We're going to do a short presentation at the beginning. We're going to talk a little bit about some more details of some stuff coming in Ascension, and then some details about something coming not too long after Ascension, and then some stuff that is longer term and may not even happen, some like concepts that we want to get your feedback on. Most of these are not firm commitments, so please don't come up to us in like 6 months and say, where's that thing you promised? Because we're not
totally
promising all of this.
right.
We're just saying, yeah. These are things we want to hear what you guys think about, start getting your feedback, and get the conversation started, because that is where most of the best designs in EVE come from. And we're going to have a lot of time at the end for questions, so what we'll do is we're going to have our presentation, and then we will have CCP Manifest with a mic, and people will be able to just line up and answer or ask questions there at the microphone, and we will answer them to the best of our ability, or evade them to the best of our ability, depending on the question.
All right, hi. So I've already introduced myself, but I'm on Team Phenomenon, and I work with a talented bunch of people, CCP Paradox, CCP Tom B, CCP Freylicious, and CCP Burger. And coming in Ascension, we talked about this yesterday, we're introducing a brand new mining operations. So I want to talk a little bit about these and explain what they are and the thinking behind them, right? So simply put, these are NPCs that will be mining in the belt of space from various empires and pirate corporations. So you'll see them spread out all across New Eden, not just in high-sec, they'll be low-sec and null-sec as well. And they're kind of a way for us to test the waters with some brand new AI and the way we actually put NPCs into space. So they're not tied around specific objects, instead they actually go out there and explore and look for asteroid belts, and if all the asteroid belts are mined out, then they'll go away. And they're kind of the start of something bigger that we've got planned, the start of future tech that we're trying out. So they fly the same ships you guys fly. So their miners are actually ore ships. We have some really cool skins from them, from the different factions and whatnot, and we'll probably show you some of those later. But yeah, they'll be flying ore ships in the asteroid belts, and they will actually deplete the asteroids. So you'll see them mining. If you shoot them after they've mined for a little bit, they'll drop some ore, which you can totally pick up. Or you can shoot their hauler, which comes in and tries to grab that ore from them. So these are the corporations that they are going to be flying from HiSec. You can see all those there. They may not mean much to you, but if you wanted to find a Dukia Foundry, I think I'm mispronouncing that, a Dukia Foundry mining operation, I might ask you, where would you go and look? Well, you should probably look near one of their outposts. So all of these mining operations are going to be based about where you would find this stuff naturally. I mean, if I went looking for a Brave Newbies mining operation, I would go and find the Brave Newbies Citadel or station or home station and start looking for there. So you want mine is like a gank. Same thing with here, guys, exactly the same thing. They distribute out from where their outposts are. So this is a bit of distribution of the high-sec areas that you will see these mining operations, and if you want to find them, that's where you should go and look. And as I said yesterday, and just earlier, haulers will come and take that ore away. As you can imagine, they're going to go from miner to miner, collecting all of the ore, just like a player would, and then walk away. And we've got some plans in the future about what they can do with that ore that I'm kind of going to hint at, but I'm not going to define too much. But if you attack the haulers, if you go and grab the ores and kill them, they have a chance of dropping a strongbox. And a strongbox can be opened by anyone. You don't need keys, you don't need anything special to open these. You can just buy it and open it. And they contain rare blueprints and skins, and this is a new way that we want to try and introduce loot into EVE Online. So you don't know what they have until you try and open them, and then you get that awesome little screen there. But you can totally sell that ability to someone else. So if you decide, well, I know there's a chance I can get like a Rorqual Blood Raider skin, but I don't really want to take the chance, I'm just going to sell it on the market and let someone else take that chance. Some other ideas we're playing around with these is you might go and get like a Dukia Foundry Strongbox and take it to Dukia Foundry and sell it to them for some ISK, which is kind of weird. You're like ganking their haulers and getting their strongboxes and selling it to them, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And like I said yesterday, these NPC miners are a little bit more skittish than you're used to, right? So their jimmies are easily rustled. When you attack them, or in fact, if you just have really bad standings with them and you come into the belt, they'll immediately call for reinforcements and the miners will actually try and warp away. So on the screen here, I'm just attacking one of these and soon you'll see the retrievers there trying to warp away and the respawn forces warp in there and start attacking me and tackling me and disrupting me and everything else that they do. So like I said, they react to standings and this means you can actually kind of use them for defense. Like, so you can go mine in the same belt as these guys do, and if there's some dirty pirate out there with terrible standings to these guys that come in and attack you, they'll come in and attack that guy long before they get to you. And we're really wanting to increase this feeling of having them act naturally like players do. So if you're mining in a belt and someone flashy comes in, you're not going to hang around. Probably not going to hang around. And the response forces are a whole bunch more capable than you might be used to. So they bring DPS, they bring logistics, they bring electronic warfare and tackle. They actually elect a fleet commander amongst themselves that they anchor on, and that fleet commander keeps them at the correct range for the weapons that they have fit. The fits that they run are very close to the player fits. And yeah, they react how you will see players react. Their logistics will actually stay right out of the fight and they'll try and keep their DPS between themselves and you guys that are attacking them. And the electronic warfare platforms will make much better decisions. So you probably won't see tracking disruptors on your Guardian. Instead, you're going to see neutralizers and sensor damps on your Guardian. And they'll keep the tracking disruptors and missile disruptors for your DPS ships. But like I said earlier, the Empires aren't the only ones that are doing this. There's going to be pirate ones as well, spread through pirate space, and again, you should look for them where you would expect them. They're probably going to be in stations, in systems with stations, and near those stations as well. We have some future plans for these. So, I mean, I'm going to ask you guys, if you're mining ore, where would you take that ore? Really? Yeah, right. So we want to do that. We want to take it to the next level and actually have these building up into a logical gameplay system where they take ore to, say, shipyards where they might build ships in the future. And as you saw on the overview earlier, we're really trying to change this whole perception about exactly what a ship is, right? We're calling a spade. When you take your first step in EVE and you play some PvE and you learn what an NPC ship does, we really want that experience to carry over to PvP as well. So the miners and the combat forces and all these operations are named after their appropriate type. You probably saw a little diamond before their name. We just put that there to make sure you don't think they're an actual player ship and try and board them. But other than that, we want to keep their names exactly as you would expect. So you'll see Bantams acting as shield logistics, Breachers providing target painting support, and Executioners running in and tackling. So that's it on mining operations. I've got something I've kind of been working on, and our team's been working on the side. I'm just going to play the demo through, and then I'll actually explain what it is. So if you kind of miss it, we'll see how this goes. So I'm flying a destroyer, and there is a bomber just up here, and it is launching a bomb, and then I launch a defender missile from my destroyer that goes and blows up that bomb. So this has been like the dream, right? No, not believing. This has been the dream, right? We've wanted to do this for so long, and hopefully coming this December, we're going to be introducing the brand new fleet defense system. So to give you a little bit of information about how this works, there is a launcher platform that you need to put on a ship, and this goes on a destroyer. What? What? So like I said, these launchers can only be put on your destroyers, and that includes Tech 2 destroyers as well. And the launcher will cycle regardless of whether or not it goes and intercepts a bomb. So if you press that button, that launcher is going to cycle. It won't launch a missile if there's no bomb, but it will cycle. And then there's a 120-second reactivation timer. So you can't just mash this, right? You actually need to pick your time to launch the defender missile. And we're probably going to give command destroyers a little bit of a bonus to the reactivation timer, so that you can use those to try and screen your fleets. And it won't require a launcher hardpoint. So it's going to be a lot like fireworks launchers. You can put this on anything. You don't just need to bring Caldari ships for this. And alpha players will definitely be able to fit these, so you can totally bring your alpha friends along to screen your battleship fleet or your attack battlecruiser fleet or whatever you want to do. So talking a little bit about a missile, like I said, these are all coming in December. There will be a brand new launcher that I was just telling you about, but all the existing heavy and light Defender missiles will be converted to the new, we'll just call them Defenders. I'm not actually going to call them a Defender pseudo-relativistic kill vehicle. But yeah, they'll be converted to this. Sorry? I don't know what you're talking about. They're going to have about a 45-kilometer range. And they launch at a random bomb. So you don't select their bomb they go after. They don't believe in friend or foe or any business like that. They just find a bomb and go after it and kill it. So you're going to need to actually train your guys that are trying to screen from bombs pretty well. You need to set up different waves, attack at the different waves of bombs, and you can totally fool people in, launch them, bring some bombers in, launch a bomb or two, have them waste their entire shot of Defender missiles and bring in the real bombing fleet as well. Or you can just snipe them off. There's lots of ways of countering this on both sides. The destroyed bomb, the missile that they go after, the bomb that the missile goes after does no damage. It still explodes, but it does absolutely no damage at all. It just looks cool. Like I said, all light and heavy Defender missiles will be converted. So I've just got one more demo of it showing off, and then to show the reactivation timer, and we'll also get a demo of what happens when there's no target. So you can see the bomb there, and boom. And you can see the reactivation, it's just reset. Rubbish. And like I said, if you try and activate this when there is no bomb, you'll get a message saying, hey, I can't find any targets, and the reactivation timer will play. But that's it from me. One other thing. You can only put one launcher per ship, so you can't just load up a rack of these on a destroyer and save the world. But we are going to have fairly low fitting costs, so you can totally do other things in your destroyer, like put them into dictors rather, and put damage on them or whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so these can go in a utility high for a sniper destroyer that's helping clear tackle. It can go in your command destroyers, in your Tech 3 destroyers, in your dictors, wherever you've got destroyers in your fleet.
Yep. I'm just going to steal my water. Yep.
Well, if you have any questions about it, we'll be able to answer them at the end of the presentation. All right, I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're working on with structures. This is not going to go into a huge amount of detail, but wanted to give you guys an update, basically. Of course, we are releasing engineering complexes in Ascension. This is what our focus is right now, getting these things polished, getting them ready to go, and being ready to respond to any problems that come up with them, any feedback that we get from players after launch. After Ascension, we're going to be spending a solid amount of time focusing on adding new features to all of the existing structures. Rather than jumping right into working on the next set of structures, our next priority after releasing the engineering complexes is to go through some of these requests that have been outstanding for a long time that we know players really want, and that add features that then are in both Citadels and engineering complexes and in all the future structures as well. The high priority stuff, we want to get insurance working in Citadels and engineering complexes. We know that's been one of the things that you guys really want to see, and we really want to see it as well. Dropbox is what we're calling the ability to place items from outside of the structure into your hangar, even if you can't dock, which makes it a lot easier to get stuff into your Citadel or engineering complex easily without having to dock and undock or with a larger ship. Also means that you'll be able to, say, complete a courier contract even if you don't have docking access. You'd still be able to place items into the structure. So that's something that, one of the things that's high on our priority list. We want to get improved API access. This is something we're working with our internal tech tools team that is working on the API. They've been focused very heavily on the mobile app, but a lot of the work they're doing for the mobile app is actually going to help carry forward into some of this. And we're going to be supporting them with 5.0 as much as we can. And also reducing the bumping of ships when they're tethered is one of the other priorities we have. So I can't promise exact schedules for these, and this is just a list of things that we know we're working on. We want to hear from you guys what else you think is really high priority. Is there stuff that should be ahead of these on priority? Is there other stuff you think should be on this list? Come talk to us, let us know, and let your CSM members know. There's a lot of ways to get these things onto our priority list. The next line of structures that we'll be introducing after we spend some time working on the functionality of all these structures is the drilling platforms. I don't have a whole set of new info on the drilling platforms to give you. It's similar to what we've said before. These are the structures that are going to be bonused for moon mining. They're going to be the structures that are bonused for refining. There aren't any special refining bonuses for engineering complexes. I know some players have been a bit confused by that. Engineering complexes are going to have exactly the same refining capability as citadels. But the drilling platforms are going to be the structures that are bonused specifically for these kind of resource extraction and refining operations. So other things that we're working on in the upcoming kind of near future across multiple teams is balance updates. It's an ongoing project, of course. We want to hear from you what things you want to see us work on next, but some of our high priority lists, not necessarily in this direct order. We have weapon tier side is high on our list. We want to try to get some of the complexity of weapons down, which includes both getting the normal tier side process through on these weapons, but also would mean getting faction ammo or Tech 2 ammo working in the faction weapons, which is something that we've said before we want to do, and I know a lot of people are really excited about that. We also have a set of changes that we're kind of setting aside time for based on the Ascension release. We know that once we get this big influx of new players that are going to be focused on using Tech 1 frigates and destroyers and cruisers, that there's going to be some balance concerns that are going to come up there. Both just ships that are out of line, but also balance between the different factions, because people are going to be locked into their factions. And we're going to get a lot of feedback about that, and we know we are. And so we want to set aside time to be able to respond to some of those balance updates that we need to do. So that's going to be high on our priority list. As well, command ships, watching what happens as the new command bursts get released and as people's behavior changes and what kind of things are needed for that. So we've got time set aside for that as well. Also high on our priority list, there's some medium weapon systems that are both, some are a bit too powerful, some a bit underpowered. Rapid light missile launchers are a bit too strong right now. We're going to be taking a look at that, which of course is very heavily connected to the Orthrus and some of the power there. Heavy missiles need some more looks. We've done some passes on them not too long ago, but we're going to be giving them some more looks. And medium autocannons are a little bit underpowered right now, so we're going to be giving them a pass as well. So those are all high on our priority list. And of course, one of the most requested items now that we've got the Tech 3s touched very recently is assault frigates, and we're going to be taking a look at those. I can't promise when we're going to have a pass in on those, but they're also up on that list. So we're going to be taking a look at them, and we're really, really interested in hearing your feedback, what kind of things you would like to see done with these ships. So this next slide here, I want to do, this is going to be a little bit nerdy. Let's talk about some numbers. And get your feedback. I want to start a discussion with the community on a potential set of changes that we're interested in doing. We've been thinking for a little while about capacitor and shield recharge rates. They're a little bit odd. The only way to really get a good value out of them is fit a ton of modules and rigs. You really need to just spam these things on, and you can get some kind of extreme cases. We've been seeing it a bit with the recharge Feeples, the very powerful tank you can get out of those. And it's a bit awkward that the individual modules are so weak, but together they can be really strong, and you need to have so many to be strong. So what we're considering doing, no promises yet, is buffing the base value of these modules by approximately 50%, so a really big buff to the actual modules themselves, but bringing in stacking penalties on these attributes. The goal there would be to make 4 or less modules of the same type get more powerful, and 5 or more would get weaker. Around that range is what we're looking at right now. And the goal here is to create more interesting fitting options that would include smaller numbers of these recharge modules, the ability to get value out of just 1 or 2 of them, the ability to combine, say, recharge modules with your cat batteries and get some good value there. Provide some more opportunities to do creative fits. And so this is something we'd like to get the ball rolling on discussing with you guys. Again, no, I can't say when we would do this or even if for sure if we will do this. But wanted to start the community discussion going with it, because I know there's going to be a lot of people with opinions on this. And yes, we wanted to also here prevent the most extreme case from getting out of control. And one of the reasons this ended up on our radar was looking at the shield recharge Speeples. Some of you guys may have run into those things. They can be very, very tanky. All right, so for this one, I need to give an extra special disclaimer, because I know some people are going to get really excited about it, and I need your excitement to be like moderated. We want to get your feedback on an idea that we think has a ton of potential, but it is not something we can promise at this time. It's not something we have a date for. It does not have a firm commitment. So think of this like the Chimera redesign from FanFest a couple years back. We're just putting out the, hey, look, there's this cool thing we might do someday, but we can't promise it right now.
So like spring?
Yeah, well, we'll see. But we're really excited about the concept, and we want to get the discussion going in the community because we think this is another idea that is going to get a lot of value out of the community discussing it because it actually involves you guys a ton. So you remember the fitting window from yesterday? We had a little bit of a there you go. Bit of a walkthrough of that. The new fitting window with the ghost fitting, the fitting simulation. There's buttons for personal and corp save fittings right up there. And you can switch between the two and browse through all your save fittings. We think it would be great to add another button. And we don't have a final name for the feature, but right now I describe it as community fittings. Yes, except good fits. So the idea behind this would be a new set of save fittings available to all players that are created by the EVE community. So if you are a new player coming into the game, you don't know how to fit your ship, you can see fits in the client that are created by other players for you to get an idea of how to fit these ships. Curated by ISD and the CSM, and with the EVE community managers having the final say. So you can't like try to convince players that this like full smart bomb fit Imicus is a great combat ship. If we do this project, it would probably start with newbie accessible ships and alpha accessible ships like Tech 1 frigates, destroyers, and cruisers. So that would be our first focus if we go forward with it. So just a quick run through of how this would work in theory. Let's say you have a great Kestrel fit. You're just a random player who's got a really awesome Kestrel fit you're really excited about, and you think all the new players would really get value from learning about this Kestrel fit. So you contact either the ISD or the CSM, and they have the kind of ability to filter some of these ideas down, come up with some of the good ones, identify the ones that have real value, and they actually would be able to then author the fits right into the EVE client. Potentially just ISD, but there would be a tool to allow our volunteers to author these right into the client using the same kind of imports that you would use to get your own save fittings in for personal or corp use. Which means that we don't need to do a patch update whenever we're changing these. They can be tweaked on the fly very easily. Of course, the community team would be watching over everything with a skeptical raised eyebrow, making sure that everything happens correctly. If there's ever a disagreement, if there's ever people get to loggerheads about what fits are going to be the best ones to put in, the final say would be with the EVE community team. So that would ensure that things don't get too out of control. So we want to get your feedback on whether you think this is a good idea, whether you think this is something that you would like to see implemented maybe differently, if you see any problems with it, and just whether it's something you think you're excited about. Would you guys participate in this? Would you guys put together fits? Would you encourage your friends who are maybe experienced theory crafters to do the same? And so we really want to hear that from both you guys here in the room and also everyone on the stream at home too.
Need a fourth button for alliances.
Yep. So the question from the audience was alliance fittings, maybe someday. I would love to do them, can't promise them though, unfortunately. The challenge with alliance fittings and alliance bookmarks is actually how we manage them because we don't have alliance roles. So who gets, where we put the UI for it, who gets access to it, how the access control works, that's the big blocker there. So I'd love to see us solve that someday, but can't make any promises at this time.
Give us alliance roles.
All right, guys? That's it for the presentation we have, but we've got time for questions. The idea here is that we've got CCP Manifest up here with a mic, and we'll be able to take your questions so you can line up right in front of where he is. There you go. Hop in a line, we'll get through as many questions as we can. and answer them to the best of our ability. You've got myself and CCP Larrikin here, and we've got, what here, like half an hour?
Yeah, about
Yeah,
that.
so we've got a good amount of time. We should be able to get through a lot of them.
And one question per person, please.
Yes.
Sibilance. Oh, perfect. Okay. Test. Okay. My name's James, or whatever. And so on that last thing where you're talking about community fittings and ISD or whoever would approve them and they go up, that'd be useful and everything for new guys, as long as you also include a description of how the ship is meant to be used. Otherwise, they'll try to use ships for the wrong purposes.
Yeah, so that's a very, very good point, and it's something that thankfully we actually have all the tools in place to do right now. So you have the ability to author text in with the save fitting, and we would just ask whoever's submitting the fitting to put an explanation in at that time.
Important note, that was a statement, not a question.
Hi, I'm Ace and CEO of Hard Knocks Inc. And my question is for whichever you guys wants to answer it. So we have these really cool new mining fleets that are going to end up in low sec, and they're going to be doing all sorts of cool stuff. What are we going to see in wormholes that's moderately similar or content-wise coming from that? Like, is SOE going to have some too?
Yeah, look, nothing with release, nothing with Ascension. Maybe in the future, but these are just going to be in nullsec, lowsec, and highsec. We have some crazy plans, but let's see if this works out first.
These NPCs don't know how to use the probe window and find anomalies yet.
No,
So they only go to static belt, so there isn't anywhere for them to go in wormholes at the moment, but in the future.
Yeah, never say never.
If it's a follow-up,
Oh, all right.
Are they able to jump gates, and are you going to see them jumping stargates?
Oh, not quite, but very soon.
are they going to trash talk in local?
Unironically, that is on our feature roadmap. Not with Ascension, but
Hi, I'm a phone TD Sin. The Defender missiles, the stop bombs you said, do they also work with the bombs from Citadels?
yeah, I meant to clarify that in the presentation, and I totally forgot. Just all the good-looking faces down here kind of threw me. No, they don't. They don't touch the. Yeah, that would be like crazy powerful. So.
That's a good question.
Hi, Robbie Casper from Karma Fleet. With regards to the weapons tier side, is there any plans to look at the difference between the larger size, like medium guns, and the smaller size, larger guns, specifically like, for example, 250 millimeter railguns compared to their dual 250 millimeter railgun counterparts?
I think it would be interesting to bring those a little bit tighter together, potentially up the tracking of the smaller tier weapons for each size a little bit. We wouldn't be able to go all the way. I think that would just end up being a bit too strong. But it is something, that ratio of how we adjust range and damage and fittings and tracking is something we would look at with the tier side, with the goal of just making sure that there's a good niche for all these sizes.
Yeah, I'm Sir Lamphere with the Pandemic Horde. A lot of people have been talking about the increased jump ranges, and I was wondering if the formula for jump fatigue is going to change, or we're just going to end up with more fatigue when we're done.
It's not going to change, but you'll actually end up with less fatigue when you jump. So fatigue is very much based on the number of jumps that you take. So yeah, if you're taking a single 7 light year jump compared to a single 5 year light jump, sure, you're going to end up with more fatigue. If we were taking 3, like exponentially you have less. It's like something crazy, like a 70% decrease in jump fatigue over 3 jumps at like over that, what's 7 times 3, my maths is about 21 light years, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
So for any given distance you're traveling, there'll be less fatigue.
Yeah.
With Pandemic Horde, we're excited about the alphas, and we give currently away hundreds of ships, frigates, and cruisers every day. The problem we have with ratio locking is that we don't have enough corporate hangar space for all the different races and everything else. Can we expand that limit at all?
It's a good question. That I think the question is basically tied to whether or not there's a performance issue with larger hangars. I know there is I know we wouldn't be able to get it vastly higher because of the item limits. Like total number of stacks per hanger is actually in there for a purpose. We've seen some problems when people get around it and it can like crash sissy. But it would be something that would definitely be worth looking at. So you're talking about the number of stacks limit in this case, right? Yeah.
You know, we can only have 1,000 ships or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can only have like 20 of each ship and we give them away within like 2 hours.
Also, follow-up. Can we get containers for fitted ships so it's solved if there is?
There's a big problem with
Oh, just
putting-
to repeat the question for anyone on the stream that didn't hear it. The question was, can we get containers for fitted ships?
Yeah, so look at something we'd love to look at, but there's like this big problem of recursion. So putting containers inside containers inside of containers inside of containers just becomes dumb and breaks all other things. So that's why those restrictions are there. It's not like we just want to be mean. It's just because of that. We'll see.
Fit containers?
Sorry, say again?
An option in fit containers so we can distribute containers away instead of ships. You need a microphone.
Come and have a chat with me afterwards.
Yeah.
Or stand in line, sir.
But yes, it was definitely something we'd love to be able to increase. The question is going to be the performance. But we'll talk to the engineers again when we get back to Iceland and see if there's anything they can magic up. For a while, we didn't think it would be possible to do asset searching in the client in structures, in new structures, Citadels. But then PrismX thought about it a lot and came up with the solution. So maybe the engineers will magically do something. I think that's what they do, right? They're just basically magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Asgard from TO2, and 2 quick questions about the NPCs. Will they change depending on what you warp in? So if I come in with 1 battleship with a whole bunch of scram all their mining ships, will they actually bring in bigger ships, or will it still be like the same kind of like, maybe like, I don't know, well, come in the 4 frigates and whatnot?
With
Will they
release, it's pretty varied. You've got a chance of getting like a whole bunch of battleships dropped on you or a whole bunch of frigates, but our plan is to actually have them respond. Of course, that's also open to abuse. I can't say that. So basically, not abuse, but that's open to gaming is a better way of saying it. Like exactly what we see with escalations in wormhole space. This was like hey, don't bring capitals, and so you guys were like, let's bring capitals, get more guys, right? So we need to work out a system that works for having interesting, engaging gameplay without being, I should just bring more things or come in with a frigate and then bring in more other ships so I get a small spawn. But that's something we're definitely looking at.
And also, just quick follow-up, what kind of like rates are we going to see for like spawning? Like, will it be more in high sec, more in low sec? What's going to be the kind of spawn rate?
It's less about actual spawn rates or even sec. It's much more about what they're around. So if you want to go and see these, you should go to where their stations are. Look up like a mine drill station and go hang around there. You're going to see more there. Same if you want to see the Blood Raider ones. Go to where their Blood Raider stations are. That's where you're much more likely to see. We have long-term future plans to have them reacting to player actions on like a global scale, but I'm not going to even talk about that. Otherwise, you guys will have all sorts of expectations that aren't realistic. All right. This winter, right?
How's it going? I'm Bosun. I just have a question about the auto-targeting missiles. Is there going to be any kind of like direct counterplay to them? Do they have a missile flight time? Do they have HP or anything like that?
I mean, they have HP, so you could smart bomb them. You could, like, just any other way you could counter destroyers. So destroyers aren't super tanky. You could totally just alpha them off the field. You could fluke out or fake out their missile volley. So because they select a random bomb out of all the bombs out there, if you come in and launch 2 or 3 bombs or like a bigger wave, you can get past them. There's a bunch of ways of counter game playing this.
Cool.
Yeah, one of the ones I'm really looking forward to actually is people coming in with like a single bomber, dropping that, getting them all to like panic activate their defenders, and then all the defenders kill that 1 bomb, and then they are all on reload for when your other 7 land.
Yeah.
Hey, Lord Servant. I got a question about, like, you're talking about the capacitor and shield region mods. What's the upper end you want to put that on? Because, like, shield Darkons now defunct, capital travel fits now defunct. They relied on stacking up large amounts of those and probably going far beyond what you'd want them to be doing cap regen wise. how do you anticipate these changes affecting the ability to do stuff like that?
So the fits that use a very large number of modules, if we went forward to this change, yeah, they would definitely get a weaker cap recharge or weaker shield recharge. But then you get more options for mix and matching. The very specific fits, like the just pure cap recharge, would get weaker under this. I would expect that if we went forward to this, people would figure out a new best fit and be moving to that within like a week or something like that. Yeah.
Angelo Sandidar from Explicit Alliance. Without revealing my personal preference, going back to engineering complexes, on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely, Fozzie, are we going to expect to see building supers outside those engineering complexes?
Sorry, the question was how likely
is it that we're actually, because I saw a forum post from you this week regarding showing like a Titan being built or whatever. How likely are we to see that?
Oh, the appearance outside.
Yeah.
I don't feel comfortable giving it that kind of rating. It's something that we've looked at. The art team has kind of on their list of things they'd be interested in doing. It's like up there with some of the other things like putting Alliance logos on them, which is I think a higher priority. So this falls below that. And there's a bit more work that would have to be done from the development side from Team 5.0 to support it as well. And at the moment, we're just focused on getting the basic functionality polished. So I can't say for sure, but I think there's a decent chance that we'd be able to get it at some point.
How likely is it that we'll see when we destroy these things, actual what was in it and kill metals and what we blew up?
So you will not see the stuff that went to asset safety under the current plan, but you will see, so any job that's active will actually have a chance of dropping the loot, and you'd see all the stuff in the kill mail. In fact, that's actually working on the test server right now. Any job that's active, you see all the materials, including like the BPCs and stuff like that, in the kill mail for it.
So we're going to see a baby Titan or something?
Yes, unless they cancel the job ahead of time, which we're actually considering doing a block on canceling jobs at a certain point. But that won't be in the first release.
Hello.
Hello.
So we've seen this, we saw the glimmer of this with the Circadian Seekers and the Drifters, and I think the vision that you've got for the NPC AI is spot on. I think you're on the right track. It needs to be just like players, introduce people to the game. But I've got some further questions here. First of all, is it safe to assume that if I have high standings with Serpentis or Sancha, that they will not attack me?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, and then...
So wait, so I do need to clarify that.
Sure.
So actually it's going to be possible for this weird situation where you could be mining in a belt with like Sancha mining operation, and then Sancha belt rats spawn and attack you, but the miners don't?
Right, because they're belt rats, exactly. So, and that's the second part is, are we going to see changes to belt rats so that finally belt rats will behave in a way according to my standing? And furthermore, how do you feel about adding functionality so that those of us who have high standings with a pirate faction could actually come to their aid in the belt, kill the players, gain loyalty point rewards from the pirate faction?
So, I totally shouldn't say this. Yeah, that's kind of our plan. So long term, what we want to do is even have them to the point, if you've got really positive standings to Sancha rats, and you're in a belt with Sancha rats, and someone comes and attacks you, they will rep you. Like, that's what we're kind of aiming for.
Not in the first release.
Not on the first release, maybe not on the second or the third, but like that's the trajectory we're going.
Early December then? Early December?
Serpentis
November
Master
16th.
Race. Shout going out to Corelli.
But just to answer the quick question about Asteroid NPCs, we're kind of moving in that direction. We just want to take it slow, get lots of feedback on this, see how this plays out, and just slowly expand this.
There's a lot of NPCs in our video game.
There's a lot.
So moving all of them over to the new AI is going to take a while.
So I just have a question about faction warfare. Do you guys have any kinds of plans in the future of modifying it to where, for example, right now there's a big issue with AWOXing where you have some corps have guys that have a positive 10 standing, which are just alts, and then everyone else is just AWOXing everybody. is there any plans to, even make it even more exciting than just sitting in a Plex?
So I guess there's kind of two separate questions there. There's the AWOC scene question, and we don't have something on the roadmap right now. We'd love to hear ideas for how you'd like to see that get solved from the community. It's obviously a challenge trying to figure out how to handle the management of membership of a group that doesn't have a player in charge of it. Humans are much smarter about this kind of thing most of the time than an NPC will ever be able to be. Coming up with rules that aren't exploitable is a big challenge, and if there's ideas that you guys have from your experience on the ground, we definitely want to hear them. And then the second one is just adding some extra excitement to it. Again, we definitely like to do some more work there. I think there's some cool opportunities in the future for tying in a revamp of FW in with some of the NPE work that's being done, because the NPE storyline at the moment is very much focused on the empires, and I think there's some cool opportunities to revamp factional warfare and kind of make it a more exciting place for new players to go into. I think it is already a pretty great place for new players to go into, but there's a lot of improvement that we can make there. I would love to see us do some more work there, and I think there's some synergies that we can hopefully find in the future.
Thank you.
Hi, Deep Spar Gradient. As one of the approximately 25 people who lives in Great Wildlands occasionally, is there anything to be done? Thuckers own it, so we've always had, Great Wildlands has always been in this weird NPC 00, but not NPC 00 space. Doesn't get the bonuses that Curse does, or Stain, or whatever. So is there anything on the new NPCs that do mining for Thuckers in Great Wildlands?
You'll actually see Thucker Mix, I'm not sure if you saw, was one of the corporations. Yeah, you'll see a bunch of them out there. Okay. We'll see.
There's a lot of cool stuff I think we'd like to do there. Great Wildlands being unique provides us cool opportunities for the future. Obviously, it makes it the odd man out in that whenever we change other systems that might affect the rest of the universe, Great Wildlands often is kind of left out from that because it's so different. But I would love to see some more work there. There's an ongoing dream that myself and CCP Delegate Zero have kind of been chatting about every once in a while, of having the ability to actually visit the great convoy fleets of the Thuckers, and these fleets that are themselves like giant, essentially stations, and that you can kind of move around, and that would be really cool. I can't promise when we'd be able to do that, but I have that amazing dream, and I think it would be really awesome.
All right, thank you.
Hello, Kanini with Pandemic Legion, and my question is about the Defender missiles. In regards to, let's say, for example, you have X bombers coming in, they launch their bombs. Let's say, for example, you have X or even X+2 or something like that, destroyers, right? So you have these bombs coming in, they're generally going to be launched at about the same time, coming in at the same time. You say that it's random, the Defender missiles are random, but when you launch, let's say, for example, 7 Defender missiles against 7 bombs, are they really random? Are you going to require multiple missiles to destroy one bomb? And if it is just a 1-to-1, are you going to have all of the missiles just stupidly going to the same bomb because the math is difficult to do otherwise? Because it would be very difficult to say, when everyone launches a missile, to say, go to unique bombs, So have you play tested that and figured if you do have scenarios quite often where 7 missiles only take out 2 or 3 bombs?
Yeah, that is totally possible. This is completely random. So you could have 200 destroyers there, and they launch 2 bombs, and everyone hits it at the same time, and they all go after the single bomb. That is technically possible. The laws of probability say that's never going to happen, although now that I've said that, it's obviously going to happen.
But it will be pretty common that if someone launches 10 bombs and you have 10 destroyers, you're not going to destroy all of them. It would be incredibly rare that would destroy all of them if you hit them all at the same time. That being said, there's ways to optimize it if you're clever. Because they go after a bomb that they can see within their range. But if you stagger the firing of them, some of the bombs might be dead, and then you can actually kind of increase your chances.
Yeah, these things are super fast too, right? So there's a 12.5 or 12-second launch time. You can totally knock some bombs out, launch a second wave of these, but you're just gonna have to be quick and organized.
A really good Defender missile wing is going to be a lot more powerful than a bunch of people spamming it.
will these be usable on T2, like for example, Dictors? And also, if a bomb is destroyed and a missile is already heading towards it, will the missile redirect to another bomb?
It is going to be usable on Dictors, all destroyers, including Tech 2. Let's be honest, so Dictors never live long enough to be useful. If they go after a bomb that gets destroyed, then they just go away.
Yeah, it'll be like a missile going after a ship that's destroyed, right? It just kind of flies off into nothingness and gets bored.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, sir.
I am Trelithra from Explicit Alliance. I was just wanted to ask a question about the new NPC mining fleets and whether they would actually be in the drone lands, considering it'd be kind of weird to see drones using warships.
Yeah, so it's on our roadmap to look at this, but that was kind of the thing, right? It's kind of weird to have drones using ore ships, although we may do that. They use infested Dominixes. For Ascension, there is not going to be drone mining operations, but some of the Empire ones will actually spill out into the drone regions based on where the stations are. But we have plans for something in drone regions. It's just going to take a little bit longer to get to. Just on that, I have dreams of swarms of these drones just basically mining your ships, but they're just dreams.
And we've got the crazy tentacle mining drones now, so we can potentially use some of those, yeah.
Those are weird dreams, man.
Don't judge me.
Hi, Temujin with Pandemic Horde. With the significant increases in your technology over the last 5 years, is there any thought to bring mines back into the game and maybe restrict them to mine layers and those types of things?
No, they're not fun. They're hilarious, but they're kind of not fun.
So yeah, there's two problems with them. There is the performance issue, and that performance issue actually doesn't go away. Yes, the servers can handle it better than they could way back then, but also there's more players playing than way back then, and more people focus into one place because organizations are getting larger and they're getting more organized to get more people into one fight. So actually, the performance concern is still an issue. But then also they're just not the greatest gameplay. It's not necessarily something that is enjoyable to have to run into. We want to try to make sure as much as possible that weapons are fun for both sides to a certain extent, that at least there's the counterplay feels fun, and with mines, that's not really the case.
Thank you.
Hello, the Wookiee Dark Taboo. So as POSs go into the distant past, do you see fuel production changing significantly? And B, could CCB buy my POS junk back?
Sorry, so the first part of the question, what was it? It was
okay. So fuel blocks aren't as let's see. It takes less to run an Astrogoose than it would a POS, a regular tower. So will you see a significant change in how much fuel is needed throughout New Eden?
I do expect we will see some. You do need fuel to run the service modules, so we see that, for instance, with the engineering complexes, you need any engineering service modules that can be fit on Citadels as well. You get the fuel usage on those. We actually dropped the fuel usage quite a bit from the initial plan because it was a little bit too high, but it still is pretty noticeable. There is still quite a decent amount of fuel being used. It's something that is definitely a concern, though. We need to keep an eye on making sure there's enough use of ice to keep all of the ice miners of Eve employed. But that's something we're very focused on making sure that we kind of address over time.
If you could make it more profitable, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Generally, anytime we have consumption in a game like Eve, it's great because it fuels other people's gameplay, and you get that. It kind of just feeds into that cycle of construction and destruction. So that's always really good to do. That's part of the reason, for instance, that we actually put ice products into the manufacturing of the ammo for the command bursts, get a little bit more usage there. And for buying stuff back, in one form or another, there'll be some buyback programs of POSs in the future. Not quite yet. We're still a ways away from that, but we will get everyone up to date on it once we get closer.
Hi, Ludi.
Hey, Ludi.
Arifus with Goonswarm. My question is, the new skin creator we were showing yesterday at the keynote, is there any plans to give us ability to make corporate colors?
So this is, you want to be able to customize the colors of your skins?
Not so much just create skins for the corporation or the alliance per se.
So that's something.
You should ask in the art panel, which is
tomorrow, I believe.
Tomorrow. Yeah, you should totally ask those guys.
They're going to be the good ones to ask. I think the first step probably in that direction that we'd want to make would be putting Alliance logos on. And that's something we want to do. I can't say for sure when it's going to be, but it is something that we are kind of keeping in mind for the future and that we're sort of working towards.
Thanks.
Opner Dresden, Explicit Alliance. On the Rourke Fleet Bay, it's now going to be the only capital with any restriction on it, even though they all have them. Can we get that lifted, since it doesn't really make a lot of sense anymore?
So you're talking about the ship bay on the Rorqual?
Yeah.
Yeah, so our concern there is actually that it would become a bit too strong for moving ships because we've increased its jump range quite a bit. So I think we'd be hesitant to reduce it right now. We might look at it in the future, though, once we see kind of how the usage evolves with the other changes, because the combination of the jump fatigue reduction on it and the long jump range means that it has the potential to be a little bit too strong if we don't.
Could we at least
we're not
maybe get
careful.
an expansion of the ships, maybe to like exploration and other stuff? Some of the non-combat support ships?
That's an interesting idea, yeah.
A lot of tunes that they don't do a lot of combat, but they have a lot of ancillary ships, like, you know, travel scepters, exploration ships, wormhole scouting, and those tunes would be good at moving that stuff. And I have a lot of empty workspace, and I have none in my combat capitals.
Yeah, I mean, expanding, I doubt we'd add interceptors into it unless we were pulling the restrictions away entirely. But adding like the exploration frigates and covert ops maybe, yeah, it's something, that's an interesting idea. It's something I hadn't really considered before, but I'll definitely give it some thought. Yeah.
Luxury yachts, maybe?
Sorry, what was that?
Luxury yachts, maybe?
Maybe. I think that would need to be on a special luxury Rorqual.
Uso Borghese of Rapid Withdrawal and with the Galente Militia. I have a sort of narrow technical question, but it expands on something you said about the NP and faction warfare earlier. I think I speak for most of faction warfare when I say that the idea that faction warfare is in a good place right now is a little concerning. Citadels, for all they're great, have both undermined the basic reason to try to take contested systems and have removed the most important defender advantage for the losing side, which was really important because you can get really steamrolled. When you mentioned the Defender missiles, actually I got kind of excited with some of my boys back there because like, oh, something that could actually at least make it a tiny bit easier to remove the Citadels that have completely annihilated the Defender advantage. So I guess my technical question is it a technical requirement that they can't target the void bombs and things like that, or was that a design choice, and if so, why?
That was a design choice. Basically, we just think that would like neuter the power of Citadels significantly, and we didn't want to do that. Like one destroyer could basically shut down bomb launchers on Citadels, so yeah, we didn't really want to go that direction.
Hey, how's it going? I'm Fotis Latro from Hard Knocks Inc., and we recently evicted a Wormhole Corp that had placed a $75,000 bounty on our hull, specifically our Keepstar. So instead of fighting us...
Is this the self-destruct question?
Yes. Instead of fighting us with their 20 plus capitals, they decided to undock them all and self-destruct them while tethered. Do you guys have a plan for removing that option in the future, or what's going to work?
Yeah, so this is something that the team that had worked on Citadels originally, the old Game of Thrones team, they actually had it planned on their roadmap to do this, which is, I think some people had seen. Nullarbor mentioned that it was something they wanted to do at some point. They just weren't able to get to it. And I think it is something that we're generally in favor of implementing, but I can't say for sure when it would be. I think blocking self-destruct on tether would be a generally positive thing to do, yeah.
Thank you.
With the new ore drones that are based on the rogue drones, have you ever thought of the idea where they revert back to their previous programming and attack their
No
owners?
Hi there, Matt Glebin from the Caldera Militia. In regards to the engineering complexes, have you considered the impact that, as they're significantly cheaper than Astrahus classes, their impact on the faction warfare meta? As my friend Uso just mentioned, that they have significantly broken the faction warfare meta by removing the defender advantage. Do you have any comments on that?
Yep. So they're going to be quite a bit cheaper, but also easier to destroy. So there's a bit of a counterplay addition there. I think the issue or the way to solve this isn't to avoid cheaper options for the structures. It's to look at the advantages and the kind of connections to factional warfare. So factional warfare station locking, of course, never affected star bases, but that wasn't a big issue because star bases have a lot less functionality than citadels. So I think when we do our next pass on FW, we need to address finding an equivalent to the station lockout for citadels. It might not be as extreme as locking people out from their own citadels. That might be a bit over the top. But I'd be interested in hearing what the FW community is interested in that, what you guys think would be a good idea. There's options available. We do, for instance, have significantly increased anchor times for citadels in other people's SOV space in SOV, and that's the kind of feature we could potentially bring in some form into faction warfare as well. So there's some stuff we have the options of exploring, and I definitely want to hear from the FW people about what you guys think would be an interesting kind of gameplay for faction warfare, whether it's taking something similar to what we have for SOV or doing something different. Definitely come and talk to us. We talked a little bit about it at the Balance Roundtable earlier today, and I'm sure we'll talk about it more over the weekend.
Okay, thank you very much.
Hi, Chaka Khan from Jaded. In wormhole space, obviously you guys know that scanning is a big deal. Currently, the way that the probe scanner is laid out, even with the new one, there are some limitations with it, specifically for folks like myself who are colorblind. Is there any potential to maybe change that to where in the future the SIGs show up as different colors? Because the red on black is, for some people, damn near impossible to see. So is that something that could be looked at in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. Ideally, we would use both shape and color in all cases to handle that. I've got red-green color blindness myself, but obviously there's a huge variety of different types of color blindness. I think that's going to be the kind of thing, the best route would be to talk to some of the guys on Psycho Sisters. I'll pass the message along to them after Vegas. I don't think we have any of them here at Vegas. But also just get in touch with Sledgehammer would be a good person to talk to on the forums or anywhere else you can get in contact with them, Eve Mail. They're the people that would be able to make some really big changes there because they're the core UI team.
Fair enough.
Thanks.
When are we going to be able to kill ourselves in our own citadels?
Wait, what? When are we going to
In stations, you can kill yourself to Jita. In citadels, you cannot.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. To do essentially just insta-clone or death clone out for a few, I don't know if there's any technical reasons why it wasn't done in the initial release. So I don't know how hard it would be, but I think we absolutely should. Most functionality from stations should be in citadels, and this is no exception. I'll add it to the list with some of the other stuff, and we'll take a look. I can't promise it because I don't know if there's other roadblocks, but we'll add it to the list for sure. Thanks.
That's it from the crowd. Sorry to the people who didn't get to ask questions, but these guys will be around.
Yep, so we've got this is actually perfect timing because it's 1 o'clock anyways right now. We have a game design roundtable at 2 o'clock, right? Yeah. Yes, in one of the Melrose rooms. So definitely if you had any more questions, go and talk to us there. Thanks everyone.
Cheers guys.